if you're looking for a compact crossover for your family, common sense should prevail. I know all you dads want Challengers, but that just doesn't make sense. Now the problem in this segment is that there are two really great common sense choices, the Honda CR-V and the Toyota RAV4. Now both are good picks, but after spending time with them, I've decided that one of them is definitely a better purchase than the other. So with that family in mind, let's start off by talking about cargo space in these two crossovers. Now here in the CR-V, we have 40 cubic inches behind that rear seat, and if you fold them down, you get just over 75 cubic inches. Now in the real world, this isn't a huge difference, but the RAV4 is a little bit smaller. Behind the RAV's rear seat, you're only getting 38 cubic inches, and once folded down, you're only getting 73. So again, the numbers are a little smaller, but in real life, they're pretty much the same size. Now, size-wise, what you will notice is the rear seat legroom. In the RAV4, you get just over 37 inches, which granted is pretty good, but here in the CR-V, you get a full 40 inches of second row legroom. Now moving forwards and taking a look at the interior up here, this Honda CR-V is just put together nice, and best of all, it has an elegant look to it, which the Toyota doesn't quite have. Now that look is thanks to this nice wood and chrome trim in here, but also this center stack with this sort of floating screen design. And those good looks transfer over to the technology here in the CR-V. This infotainment system is just nice and colorful, and it's well laid out, and it's nice to look at, and best of all, it's responsive, once again beating out the RAV4 system, which feels a little old and a little clunky. Now continuing on with technology, there's a few more things I need to talk about in this CR-V. Now, first of all, there are two USB ports up front, but something I really like, there are two USB ports in the back, and that's something, once again, that the RAV4 does not offer, just putting a 12-volt outlet in the back seat. So far it is 2-0 Honda. This thing just has easier to use technology, and it's bigger. But let's talk about what it's like to drive, and right away there is a problem. Powering the CR-V is a new 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder making 190 horsepower and 179 pound-feet of torque, and that's not the issue. The issue is how it sounds. When you put your foot deep into this thing, it downshifts and it just sounds brutal, like it's straining really hard to get this thing up to speed. Although luckily for Honda, that's really the only knock I can make against this powertrain. Now all of that torque comes on low at 2,000 RPM, so power's never really an issue. This thing is plenty fast. I just wish it sounded better. Now Honda also gets marks for how smooth and quiet its CR-V is, but that is definitely one area where I think the RAV4 can keep up. So let's go drive the Toyota and see how it does. So the drive here in the RAV4 is probably one of the strongest aspects of this crossover. However, it's still not quite as good as the CR-V. Now, I will give the Toyota praise for handling. It feels a little bit sharper than the CR-V does. The steering's a little bit more direct. However, there is definitely more road noise here in the Toyota, and the suspension is a little bit stiffer. So it really comes down to personal preference, whether or not you take the sort of stiff, sharp handling of the RAV4 or that buttery smooth CR-V. However, for this segment, catered towards families, I think the Honda is better dialed in for this customer. And getting back in the Toyota, I'm just reminded once again of how nice that CR-V is on the inside. There's just nothing in here that looks all that nice, and especially considering this is the top trim Platinum model, it doesn't really feel all that premium. Now, as I mentioned, this is a Platinum trim RAV4, while our CR-V is the Touring model, so both are fully loaded, which means they both come with a lot of different safety technologies. Now, one of those is adaptive cruise control. Both of these crossovers get it, but again, the system in the Honda is just better. It actually allows you to come all the way down to 0, it will hold you there in traffic, and then when you hit the gas pedal again, it will take off and the cruise control stays on the entire time and maintains the distance. Not only that, but the Honda will actually sort of coast to close gaps or coast to make the gaps bigger, rather than this RAV4, which will grab the brakes. It's just a little more of a jerky driving experience, whereas the Honda's adaptive cruise is actually pretty intuitive and pretty smooth. Now, not only does the Honda drive better, but it also uses less fuel, with this RAV4 rated at 22 miles per gallon in the city and 28 on the highway. Where the Honda is most impressive is in the city, where it gets 28 miles per gallon, while out on the highway, the CR-V is rated for 33 miles per gallon. So you're getting more power from the Honda and it's burning less fuel. Now for safety, both of these cars also have lane keep warning and lane keep assist, and both systems work pretty well. They work pretty well in the background. They don't really grab your steering wheel or anything like that, and just help you to keep the car centered in the lane. Now finally, when it comes to safety, there is one area where this RAV4 pulls ahead, and that is with its cameras. Now over in the CR-V, the rear view camera does offer 3 different angles, which is kind of nice, but here in the RAV4, there are tons of different angles. You get a bird's eye view look looking down at the car, which helps a lot when parking. You can also get close-up looks on either side, and my personal favorite, the RAV4 has a camera on the nose, so when you're pulling into things, you can see exactly how close you can get to them. I also really like the settings for this camera in the RAV4, because when you're pulling close to something in the front or the back, the camera comes on automatically. With so many cameras helping to guide you in, and then that 3D view of your car once you've parked, you have no excuses for a bad parking job in this RAV4. And finally, to add insult to injury, the Honda is also cheaper. The 2017 CR-V starts at just a hair under $25,000, while our fully loaded touring model sells for $34,635. Now over at Toyota, the RAV4 starts at just a little bit more, while our fully loaded Platinum model costs $37,110, about $3,000 more than the Honda. Honestly, I thought that this comparison was going to be tough, but turns out it's not even close. With more power, better technology, and more space at a cheaper price, how could you not choose the Honda CR-V?